Hey everyone, this is Chris here from motorheads.com, and in this episode, I want to talk about the 992.2 GTS, a model that's kind of stirred up some serious debate in the car community since it made its debut in May last year. Now that it's starting to hit dealerships, I thought now would be the right time to talk about some of the downsides of the T-hybrid system and the 992.2 GTS in general. Okay, so let's kick things off. So now the GTS nameplate dates back to the mid 2000s, and it was introduced with the 997 generation. Um, and it has evolved over the past two generations with the 991 and the 992.1 as well. If you can see sitting within the 911 lineup, we have the Carrera T that's missing here. But the GTS is basically the top spec or the most expensive Carrera model that you can buy, and it kind of occupies a sweet spot between the base Carreras that you see here and the GT line of cars. Um, in fact, I wonder why Porsche even bothered to introduce the T-hybrid system specifically with the GTS. It could be given because of the popularity, because a quick Google search will reveal that the GTS and the Carreras are, in fact, some of the most popular 911s that people are looking for. So I suppose that's the reason they chose the GTS to introduce this new hybrid tech to the 911. So speaking of hybrid tech, yeah, so that's the reason that there's all the buzz about the new 911. How because does introducing hybridized, hybrid technology to the 911, does it take away from that quintessential driving experience? Purists are on the fence about it. So before I get into the downsides of the T-hybrid, let me quickly run you through um, how the system actually works. So you have an all-new 3.6-liter twin turbocharged flat six now, and it's internally codenamed the 983V6, and it was developed from the ground up. So gone is the twin turbo setup that you had before on the 3.0-liter that you got on the old GTS, and now you have an all-new 3.6-liter mill. Now, this T-hybrid system is different compared to the E-hybrid system that's been around since 2010. And we've seen it on more mainstream models like the Panamera and the Cayenne, and even the 918 hybrid. Supercar. But whereas though that particular system is a plug-in hybrid system and offers all electric driving, the T-hybrid system is more of a mild hybrid compared to that system. So there's no EV only mode that you get with the T-hybrid system. It's basically a performance hybrid designed to retain the 911's uh, characteristics of offering a phenomenal drive, increasing off-the-line performance, etc. So here's a brief overview of the entire system. You have the 3.6-liter boxer mill, two electric motors, at the PDK, and I'll go into more specifics into how the system works. So instead of the twin turbo setup that you had with the old 3.0, you now have a single turbo and you have an electric motor that's integrated to reduce turbo lag. The excessive energy is captured, it can also act as a generator, the electric motor here. And the excess energy is captured by a high voltage battery, a 1.9 kilowatt hour battery. And this provides about 50 horsepower of additional assist for a combined total output of 532 horsepower. So that's about 50 more from the outgoing 992.1 GTS. Um, and the overall system adds just over 100 pounds of weight. So you also have an additional electric motor that's integrated into the 8-speed PDK, and it draws power from this from the 1.9 kilowatt hour battery pack to provide that additional boost. So that's how the entire system works with the T hybrid. So minimal turbo lag. It was 3 seconds before, now it's down to 1 second. So that is a pretty significant difference, and the entire system is a lot more simplified, is what Porsche claims. I mean, the powertrain specifically, compared to the old twin turbo system, because it's a lot more compact. You just have one turbocharger now. So so despite what people say about, I'll be getting to the downsides now. But before that, it is worth noting that the 992.2 GTS is quicker than the current 992.1 Turbo S around the Nürburgring by 1 second. It clocked its time of 7 minutes and 16 seconds around the ring, and it is also close to 8 seconds quicker than the outgoing GTS. That is something that you want to keep in mind. So you can see that out on the racetrack, that is a pretty significant improvement compared to the outgoing model. But the downside is that it now feels a lot more digital than analog. compared to the outgoing GTS. When it comes to performance, tuning, for example, is going to be an issue given the complexity of the new T-hybrid system. That is going to be a sticking point. In fact, a Porsche engineer actually confirmed, I think on the Savage Geeks channel, that it's going to be very difficult to tinker with the T-hybrid system for tuners. Now you don't have a wastegate now. So this obviously limits the amount of customization that you can do to the powertrain. The sound profile is another thing that has also changed now with that single turbo instead of the previous parallel twin turbo setup. So it's going to be a lot less dramatic. Another issue is no longer will a manual be available with the GTS. With the electric motors placement and integration inside the 8-speed PDK's bell housing, it's not possible to actually integrate a manual setup now with this powertrain setup. Now, specifically talking about the 992.2 GTS, and this is not about the T hybrid. It's more, the design is more revolutionary than evolutionary. Again, very cliche to say. You have the blacked out bits to kind of add that bit of sportiness. Again, it's going to be subjective. I'm not really a fan of these vertical aero fins. Tell me what you think about them. Are you a fan? But that's the easiest way to say that you're looking at a 992.2, probably uh, a hybridized version, I should say, because this the T hybrid is coming to the upcoming 992.2 turbo as well. Inside, you now have an all digital dash in place of a in place of the tachometer. So the central analog gauge is gone. It's an all digital setup now. You don't have the Lamar style shifter. It's a generic start stop button now from the Volkswagen Group's parts bin. So that's something that's also worth keeping in mind. Moving on to okay, so moving on to price. So the sticker price is about $14,000 more than before at 164,000. This kind of puts it in the same region as Mercedes AMG GT. It's not too far in that same ballpark. So what do you think? I mean, people have mixed opinions about the new T hybrid system introduced on the new GTS. Some argue that it doesn't have the old visceral feel that you get with the non-hybrid 911s as before. But the automotive press, I mean, the folks who've already driven it from some of the biggest publications, I mean, they have mostly been positive. Um Chris Harris, ex-Top Gear presenter, for instance, specifically said that it is one of the cleverest new pieces of tech that he's driven in years. So that's a tall praise. But it is worth noting that the reliability aspect of the T hybrid system needs to be it remains an unknown entity. How easy or difficult will it be to replace components on the system? It adds more complexity. Obviously, replacement of that small 1.9 kilowatt hour battery, for example. What would such things cost in the long run? Would it be possible to service? uh, you know, your 911 at any regular Porsche dealer? I mean, how soon can the system catch up uh, to this new piece of technology? It needs to be seen. Also, uh, uh, one thing about the T hybrid, I wish that given the current circumstances where the market is headed, I mean, they're going to introduce it on the Turbo S, as I mentioned, but I think it would also be great for Porsche to consider actually integrating this piece of tech, as on a potential 718 hybrid. The 718, of course, is going to go down the EV route. Porsche has some battery issues right now with sourcing the batteries. They want to phase out the gas version, but would a T hybrid system make more sense in a 718? Uh, Needs to be seen because there is talk about integrating, ICE tech or hybrid tech into models that were destined to be EVs from the ground up. So let me know what you think about the 992.2 GTS. I mean, has Porsche done the right thing? It is worth noting that it is Porsche's first production hybrid. They did tinker with production hybrid 911. They did tinker with hybrid technology back in 2010 with a racing program. But that wasn't the T hybrid system. It was a lot more complicated. It was a lot more heavier. You had a much more complex setup. So please let me know what you think about the new 992.2 GTS. Is it something that you would consider? Would you be willing to take the risk, as a first mover with this new hybrid tech, or would you want to wait it out and see how things evolve, which models get this new T hybrid system? and how the market adapts to it. So please let me know in the comments below. And for a more in-depth look at how the system works, some of the downsides, etc., please don't forget to check out the link in the description and subscribe to the Motorheads channel for more Porsche focused content. Cheers, guys.